Hello, everybody, and welcome to my EdTech Life. Today we are being joined by my wonderful friend here, Luis Pertus. So I'm really excited to be here today, and thank you guys again. Saturday morning. I know you guys may be having your coffee. You guys may be getting ready to do your breakfast and so on. So I'm just really excited that you guys are sharing with us at this very moment. So I'm really excited for you. All right, guys, give me a second.
Hey, how are you all doing? Either Fonz died and his computer crashed or something, or he just left me alone to say hi. So, hello everyone. It's so nice to be here with you. And Fonz is back, which is
Yeah.
awesome.
Yes,
And
I am back, guys. Sorry about that. Just a little technical difficulty, Lise, but of course you are a pro. And so thank you so much for taking over there and everything. But again, like I was saying, thank you guys for joining us this morning. And of course, like I always tell my teachers, sometimes tech happens. So again, that
yes,
was just one of those things that you get used to. But again, thank you guys for joining us. And I already see some people here. I mean, I saw Abid right at 8:59. Abid was already here. I don't think I had even started the intro yet. Abid is here. Nikki, thank you so much for joining. Gerardo. And of course, please drop us, let us know where you're coming from and having some breakfast with, like it says here, some amazing humans. So thank you so much. And so today we're going to be talking about something that's very important, and I know it's so repetitive, but I just really wanted to get my friend's take on this. And we're going to be talking about work and life and a true balancing act, because it's been a year. I remember that year last year when they're like, hey, we're not coming back March 13th, and trainings just took off. Our tech department just took off, like getting ready, teachers got ready. And right now, a year, it's kind of like, oh man, some people are hitting the wall, some people are kind of, trying to find that balance. So we're going to be having here some conversations and just getting a different perspective also from my friend Luis, who is in Colombia, and maybe him sharing a couple of his experiences so we can also see things through a different lens. So thank you guys for joining. So Luis, for all our audience members who are maybe first timers to the show, or maybe those that may not know you, please let us know, give us a little bit of background of who you are and what you do.
okay, but before I do that, it just what Nikki just said and what you just said. Do you realize that it's been, at least for me, today to the year? It's the day that we left school for a short while, and we're going to do a quick quarantine for about 2 weeks. And
Yeah,
it's been a year.
it's the
It's,
anniversary of the 2 week
it's the
flatten the
anniversary
curve.
of the 2 week quarantine. It's insane. So, yeah, no, okay. So, my name is Luis Pertus. I am, oh, God, I'm a lot of things. I'm a technology integrator at Colegio Marymount here in Barranquilla, Colombia. Barranquilla is in the north coast of Colombia. We're against the Caribbean Sea. Our claim to fame is we are the birthplace of Shakira, Sofia Vergara, and for those of you baseball fans, Edgar Renteria. He used to play with the Marlins, if you're into that sort of thing. I am also a Google Certified Educator, Trainer, and Innovator. And my Google just went off on my computer. So yeah, so fun. Okay, and I am also one of the co-founders of Global GEG. So Abid right there, shout out my man. And all of you guys who are already in there, well, you know who I am. And it's been fun and it's been insane. That's also, we're coming up on a year anniversary of like us officially starting, which is also crazy. What else? I'm also, oh yeah, I'm one of the GEG mentors for Latin America, which has been an interesting development. And yeah, it's fun being here, and it's nice sharing with everyone, and hoping to have a nice time. as
There
always.
we go. Yeah, as always. And again, guys, if this is the first time watching the show, or maybe you've heard the podcast, this is just show casual conversation. It's just my EdTech Live, bringing educators, creatives together just to share their passions, their inspiration, share experiences, because I think through the world of storytelling and living through those experiences or seeing things through a different lens really helps us as educators, creatives, or in pretty much in anything that we may be doing, to just learn. And it's just a place where I like to say maybe iron sharpens iron. This is where we build up some skills, we learn some new things and things that we can apply, and maybe sometimes even just see that, hey, you know what, I'm not the only one going through this. There's other people that are out there, and you can reach out to any of us and we'd be more than happy to help out. So Luis, thank you so much for that introduction and letting us know the many hats that you wear. And it has been a year since I really, really got to know you. And of course, through staff room, of course, innovator, applying for innovator, and, being very helpful in so many things. And so I really want to thank you and the rest of the global GG leadership for everything that you've done and what you helped start. And being part of this group has been so amazing to be able to help out and reach out to so many educators, just kind of flipping the switch and say, okay, here we go, let's do this. And it's been amazing. So thank you for what you do, that inspiration. And so let's talk, like we talked about here today. Our topic today is just work and life, a true balancing act. And so we just want to get your perspective as far as in context of what you're doing and how you have been able to manage. I know for yourself, being one of the top tech people, instructional tech in the classroom and wearing many hats. How has this been for you in your case, as far as finding that work-life balance?
That wait, there's a noise. Okay. Well, work-life balance is hard, and being home. Well, not anymore because we're doing hybrid, but still being at home and using your house as your workplace has blurred the line between like going to work and staying at home, and that's the hardest part of all. And then just unplugging from school unplugging from work in general. It's not just school, it's like all the other bits and bobs that come around, and it's hard, especially since at the beginning when we're all working from home, since we're all supposed to be sheltering in place and staying at home. Not that I'm not saying that my bosses did this or that your bosses did this, Fonz, but I've heard of people who apparently their bosses expect them to be like 24/7. Since you're at home, well, you better work. So I email at odd hours of the night, like calls on a Saturday. Oh, I need some help with this or that. When before, maybe on a Saturday I wasn't gonna be here. Maybe I went off to my in-laws, and oh no, sorry, I'm driving, I'm on the road or something. And right when you were in quarantine, you can't leave. So there was a higher expectation, and I do get, not that I didn't do it, not that I refused everything, and I do get the importance of, especially in a situation like this where things have been very complicated, trying to get the school through moving to virtual and then moving back to hybrid and starting this weird craziness that people are coming back. And yes, we do have to prepare, and it does take time, but it drives people insane. And the burnout is real, and people are just getting tired. There's a moment where, as much as I love my computer and as much as I love messing around, there are times where I just have to switch it off and go and do something else, even if it's switching from one screen to another and just like go and watch Netflix. But at least if I'm watching Netflix, my brain is on check and I don't have to do anything. Or barbecue Sundays, and barbecue Sundays are like the best thing I've done, because it drives my mind out of everything. I dedicate myself to the charcoal and to feeding my family and to having fun and hoping when I can see friends again and I can have them over and we can share a meal, and that's very important. And then also, because since I drink a couple of beers while I'm cooking, I want somebody to drink the beers with. I don't want to, I feel like I'm having a drinking problem if I'm drinking by myself.
Wow. But yeah, I mean, and I agree with you on some of those things, Luis, like as far as everybody experiencing. I think there was something, maybe along those lines for a lot of people, that perception of you're at home, you've got your internet, that means that you're okay, and let's go. Let's keep going through this, and let's push, and emails and things of that sort. I think a lot of people did go through that experience, or maybe going through that experience, and for a whole year now, I mean, just everything just switched, and emails and trainings and all that good stuff, and all of a sudden it's just like,
Yeah.
wow. I was reaching out to some people and just simply asking them. What I like to do is I like to check up on people sometimes that I'll see, like, in my PLF, my personal learning family, who maybe sometimes I see like, hey, they're not very active, or I haven't seen them post. I was like, and sometimes like I wonder what's going on. So just reaching out to them. And some of them have just honestly said, like, it's just like I've hit this barrier,
Wall.
this wall,
Yeah.
and I'm like, wow, it's March, school year goes on through for May, June, depending. And then on top of that, you've got maybe in some areas state assessments, and then you've got summer schools, and then you've got other programs and so on. And it's kind of like, wow, let's say, where's that balance, because even though, like you said, sometimes you want to relax and you do like your barbecue Sundays, or you just unplug, back of your mind, man, you're still like, oh my gosh, this is coming up
Oh,
this week, this is coming up next month. And it really sometimes can rob that joy of, hey, you know what,
but
I'm just here unplugging.
and one of those things that and like all the people that are there that work with you, because there's two things right now. I have two communities I worry about. There's my coworkers, and there's my friends around the world. And it's what was I was saying in some chat or Slack or something. It's funny how you right now, I'm feeling closer to all the people that I know that are abroad or that are far away than some people I actually work with that I see on a daily basis or don't see. It's weird because you feel closer to people who are far, far, far away. But then that's the whole like-minded wackos thing going around. But that's another issue entirely. But then there's also the thing of the teachers who are genuinely afraid for their lives, and they don't want to go to work, and they have some issue with, some people have transplants, some people have asthma, some people have any of those comorbidities or any of those underlying issues that going to school, even though kids are allegedly less risky, still the kids might be okay, but the kids' parents or the kids' grandparents might be at issues. Like, I'm not sending my kids to school, even though I have the option, basically because the only people my parents see, and my parents are older, are my kids, because we're the closest family that they have. And then if I take the grandkids away, my parents are gonna go insane. So it's one of those worries about, handling all this, work, school, the kids' school, and it's all the same because it's the same school. Yeah, all that is crazy.
Yeah, and that's something that too that I wanted to hit on. I mean, like you're saying, the family, that closeness, you're able to see your
Thankfully.
father-in-law, mother-in-law, parents, on the weekends and so on. And that was something that was very, very hard for me. I mean, when this whole thing started and they're like, no, we're locked down. I mean, my parents, my dad's going to be 84 this year. My mom is 70. She'll be 77 this year. And I was thinking to myself, I was like, I can't see them. I mean, you don't know how hard it was. And the thing about it too is being an only child. I'm an only child. I am a man that's going to be in my 40s in a couple of months, and not to be able to go and see my mom and dad, give them a hug, give them a kiss, and how my take visit, because I mean my wife and I visit them every weekend, and or at least at that time before that we did. And then after that we kind of just like, man, it's I didn't want to risk, I didn't want to be that guy that says, oh man, because of me they
Yeah.
got sick or something. And it's very traumatic, and maybe it's one of those things that I never really shared with anybody but just my close friends. But it was something that was very difficult for me not to be able to see my parents, and having that balance of calling them every day. How are you? How have you been? Do you need any food? And I would, and as dangerous as it could possibly be too as well. But I mean, I wanted to make sure they had food. So sometimes, like if I knew that Pizza Hut was open and they were delivering, I would call my parents and say, "Mama, Papa, te van a llevar una pizza. They're gonna go deliver pizza.
Yeah.
Put a chair outside. It's already gonna be paid for, and they're gonna drop it off." And then tell them like, just clean this properly, do this and everything,
Yeah.
and just so I know
Or
that they're gonna be okay.
or what my wife would do is put the pizza back in the oven for a little while, just because we're paranoid. Just stick it in the oven for a couple of minutes, just warm it up again, and just make sure that everything's okay. Yeah. Same thing. My wife would help my mom do her. Thankfully we have like a very good delivery system here. We have a couple of like stuff like Grubhub, but not Grubhub, but they do everything. So my wife had the patience, which I lack, because I am a bad son in that sense. I don't have patience for explaining tech to my parents, and which is weird because my dad is a tech geek, but he got stuck in the 80s. So he still has a computer that runs DOS, and he does his accounting for he used to do his accounting for his business on a DOS based platform, which is insane, but it was his way of getting things to work. But my wife would go and she would like online help my mom order her groceries, and then finally my mom and my dad are already understand all this, and it's okay, but still it was rough. And yeah, we could do WhatsApp or whatever, and my kids could video call my parents and everything, but it's not the same. And yeah, sometimes if they do come, we'll all mask up and we'll just take them off to eat or whatever. But there's, they live literally 3 blocks away. Like over there behind that wall somewhere, my parents are right there. So it feels really hard to be so close yet isolated and can't see them at all or can't touch them or anything. That's rough. And then with my kids, who are the only grandkids, that's also rough for them because they love them, thankfully, and then not being able to see them. My in-laws, unfortunately, are 100 kilometers away, so that's another issue entirely. And yeah, but still, the farthest I've been from my home is to work. That's it.
Yeah. No, and that's, like I said, everything that you're saying just really resonates with me, because I mean it's very difficult, and it has been. Now things are a little bit better here, I guess, in the sense where, at first we'd go visit, and I mean we were in our car and they were just right outside the garage, like actually just inside the garage, right outside their doors, distanced and everything. But I mean, the fact that for the longest time you just couldn't grab them, hug them, and give them a kiss. And to me, in my heart, I mean, if that bothered me. But I mean, imagine when a parent, and especially as my parents are getting older, and I think, I don't know if it's something too, or you may have experienced, but maybe sometimes they may feel like, well, maybe they don't love me anymore, maybe, or they start getting those thoughts.
The other thing is we're Latino.
Yeah,
we are huggy, kissy people. we go and we hug and kiss everyone all the time. I have a very good friend that works with me, and she is one of the weird Latinos. She doesn't like saying hi with a kiss, and then she's the happiest she's ever been because she doesn't have to kiss anyone for any reason whatsoever, and she doesn't have to go into contact with anyone. So this has been her moment. But everybody you go and see, you either hug them or whatever, and you go, hey, Marguerite, all of that. And now we can't. And that's the weirdest thing of all. Going back to school and seeing the kids and the kids being used to like walking up and hugging you or whatever, and now they can't. And then they get told off if they do because they shouldn't. That's hard. That's really, really hard. And for our culture, so to speak, it's super hard because we are huggy kissy. And we talk with our hands, all that thing. That's all related.
Yep. No, I agree with you. And so that's something that's been very difficult for me and everything. But again, just being very cautious. And big shout out to Becky. Thank you, Becky, for joining us. Of course, Abbott is here. And Tim, Teachers on Fire, thank you so much for stopping by. Appreciate you being here and all your support. So make sure you also check out Teachers on Fire podcast and also the 3CCs. So don't forget them with Becky, Shannon, and of course, Georgina. So yeah, make sure you check them out. Thank you guys for stopping by. But Yeah. So now, I mean, a couple of things. I mean, what have been some of the ways that I mean, going from the very beginning, and I know you do your barbecue Sundays, and we'll be doing staff room, and you'll be barbecuing.
Yeah, don't
Having.
tell anyone. Sometimes it's on Saturdays.
Well, I was gonna say because I remember you mentioned that it's like he barbecues on Saturdays sometimes, but how long, Luis, or maybe I don't know. I'm curious because I know for myself things were different, but how long before once all this thing everybody shut down and we're like waiting and expectations, like how long before you just started kind of just setting parameters and saying, okay, look, I'm going to stop answering emails at this time. It's like that problem is going to be there tomorrow morning. I'm going to stop, or now I'm going to say, you know what? I'm going to unplug, put my phone away, spend time with the family. Was that a hard adjustment based on the demand that they put on you as far as, hey, you're the
That
tech leader,
that's
you know?
hard because you say that you won't do anything past 4 p.m. But then again, sometimes it depends. Because if I get a call from a teacher, um, I hate to say it, but sometimes it depends on the teacher. Because sometimes there's people that they're calling you because it's something that is like way beyond whatever it is that they normally do, or you'll get like 100 million calls in like the space of 5 minutes, so something's like at the very least it's on fire. If the head of the school calls me, I'm not gonna say no. I can answer the phone, and she fortunately she's very understanding. She's the first thing she says if she calls me at an odd hours is, "I'm very sorry for calling you at this time, but I need to know something or other, or I need to ask you this question." So yes, I love to say that I have a hard line and I'm not ever going to answer anything past whatever time that we might say. But no, I would love, and for those of us who were in the training events with Google lately and with Future Design School, they gave us a beautiful worksheet where we're supposed to fill in like suggestions that we might have towards different Google products. And some of the suggestions from the last time have already been incorporated into Google products. And one of the suggestions I made, which I'd love to lobby for all of you, is a Google Labs edition, or if there isn't any, and it doesn't exist as Labs anymore, but for Gmail, where you could, like, in calendar, you can define office hours. It would be awesome if in Gmail you could say office hours until 4, and it would like do an auto reply and say, this is after office hours, and I'll gladly get back to you tomorrow. I am a very hard believer on send later, and I might receive email at night. I will answer it, but I'll send it to reply at some random hour the day after. And I'll normally do it, and I'll specify a weird time, so it's not, because it'll suggest 8 o'clock in the morning or noon or 2. No, I'll say like 7:43 or some weird hour, so it seems a little more human. And I'll do that just so people don't know that I tended to their request at some weird hour of the night. What I will do is I have WhatsApp on mute on my phone, because in Colombia we WhatsApp for everything. We don't believe in texting, and I have my WhatsApp is muted, so I won't look at it, or I'll try to ignore it, or I'll at least scan through who's there, and I'll know who I'll answer or not. And then people will freak out because I saw you were online and you didn't answer me. I don't care. I'm busy. I'm doing something else. I'm with my family.
Yeah. No, and then so Tim here, he's saying better than an auto reply would be an instant pop-up that appears for the composer/sender. So
that would be cool. Yeah.
That would be cool. Yeah, and this was something that was very interesting, and like you said, I think it is very hard, especially depending on the position that you're in, and coming in and now being my 4th year in this position here in the district, and emails, it's kind of like, and since I'm very customer service oriented based on my business background, it was, man, I was answering emails like at all hours. Teachers, I mean, and they were sending me emails like at 11 p.m. and I was still up because we're COVID, everything had just shut down and people had questions. So started answering those questions, and I mean, odd hours and so on. And I get it. It's just like, they're in panic mode. They need that help, and you just kind of roll with it. But after a while, I mean, going on a year now, I have had to, like, and it's very hard. And I agree with you. It's very hard, at least coming in from like that background and the business background and the customer service, where I had to finally say, you know what, I slowly kind of, okay, no more emails at 10 p.m. No, and no more answering emails at 8. So I was kind of taking it back, like slowly, like 1 hour at a time, 1 hour at
Yeah,
a time. And so right now my rule is like after 6 p.m., like, yeah, that's it, because that's family
yeah. That's
time.
that's
Let's
that's one of the
enjoy.
first things we did was actually we gave teachers PD and we set up a help desk, and we actually purchased a couple of licenses from Freshdesk, and
Mhm.
we have a small team that tends to like all those requests that come in. My internet isn't working, and some stuff they'll come up with stuff that I don't know why they're asking me, because if their internet in their house is broken, why are they calling me? Why aren't they calling whatever customer support for their company? No, it's apparently my fault. Like, I have all the internet in my pocket and I'm denying it from others, which is weird. And we gave that fresh test. It gets an automatic email reply and it says, hey, this will, so the shortest amount of time where you can expect an answer is a day. So if you write help desk, you be prepared to wait at least 24 hours, because
Mm.
and 24 working hours. Don't imagine that if you write at 8 o'clock at the evening, you're going to get a reply at 8 o'clock in the morning. No way.
Yeah.
You just be patient, because people have to learn. They are urgent and their time is important, but our time is also very important, and our like mental safety and health is insane. And yes, just like Becky said, we are the safe people, but I have a home, I have family, I have kids to take care of, I have to unwind. There are days where I just unplug the computer and I put it away in the closet so it won't even tempt me. And I try to do that same thing with the phone, but there's too many games I like. So that's
Yeah. No, and those are all great points. And like Becky, you're saying, as in a district, I mean, they see you as that person that can help, and so you get it. It comes, you help, and you feel good about yourself. You're helping them out, but like you said, Lise, like there's that balance. And as hard as it was, I mean, at 6 p.m. saying, okay, this is my deadline, or my hard cutoff,
yeah.
it's
And we
hard.
wouldn't be we wouldn't be in that position. We wouldn't have that job if we didn't like to help.
Yep.
That's the other thing. So yeah, I enjoy helping others, and sometimes for me, I'm a heavy believer in teach the people how to fish, not give them the fish.
Yeah.
So sometimes my help is very unhelpful, in the sense that since I know it's a recurring thing and it's always the same issue. So my help begins after a while. It begins, have you read what it says on the computer? No, I just clicked on cancel. Okay, next time, please read and try and follow directions, because sometimes in that warning, you'll get the answer to what it is you need. And you don't need me to go all the way over there and click a button, because you can click the button. I'm sure you're very able, and you've survived COVID, and you've survived hybrid, and now you're surviving this. So please, pretty please. and and it's been gaining traction, because there's a point where we begin to be spread too thin, and it's horrible.
Yeah. No, and that's definitely detrimental to your health. I mean, you're talking about just the burnout, you're talking about just exhaustion, just mentally, physically, and then of course, if you have family, then that starts also like, hey, you never put your phone down, and hey, you're answering emails, you're doing
Yeah.
this, and it it's something, like I said, and I can be honest with you. I mean, just wanting to help and answer, sometimes my wife would just be like, it's 9 p.m. Like, what could you possibly be answering? It's like, oh, well, it's a Google issue, Google this, Google that, or Google Classroom, and so on, just a question. And then one time she said, like, okay, can't you just wait till the morning? And that's when it kind of hit me. It's like, well, yeah, I mean, the same problem will be there in the morning, but in my mind, it was so hard for me to just put that down. I had one of my friends who also works in the district who would text me, because we were all in the same Google Classroom, and as I was putting up resources late at night, he would just text me and say, "Stop working,
Yeah.
stop, just stop." And I was like, like, wow, like, and we were just talking about that this week, and he's just like, remember, like, the way you were, like, you know
Yeah.
constantly 11 p.m. putting stuff up. He goes,
And
stop.
my, it's not a new pet peeve, but it's my number one pet peeve is people who aren't even don't even take the time to type something out, and they'll send you a voice memo. Oh, how I hate voice memos. And the longer the voice memo, the more I hate it. And it has happened to me because WhatsApp will tell you how long the voice memo is before you press play. So I have answered people literally saying, this voice memo is a minute and a half long. Call me. I'm not going to hear it. If you want to talk to me for a minute and a half, call me and we'll talk. Because if you're gonna like tell me the story of your life, I don't want the story of your life on my phone. Please, 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 if you're gonna take like a minute and a half to explain something, please call me, because it must be a bigger issue than just typing something out. And if you can't be bothered to type, then call me, because it's insane. And then and if I answer to the voice memo, I'll get 3 more, one after the other.
Yeah. Yeah, and I like what Tim says here. It says, from Teachers on Fire, it says, sometimes we need to allow our learners or team members the gift of productive struggle.
Oh, yes. And in that sense, I think I'm not sure if it was last night or the night before last, some teachers started writing me at 8:00 at night because some issue she was having. And I very purposely didn't read it, so she wouldn't get the blue checks on her WhatsApp. And after like at 9, I saw that she wrote me again. And I did like read, like, the notification you get. Ay, ya entendí, no te preocupes, gracias. Okay, I got it. I worked it out. Don't worry. Thank you. Like I said, she learned by me not doing, like exactly like Tim was saying. And it's the best thing ever, because sometimes that struggle is a very, very, very good learning opportunity.
Yeah, no, and I agree with you. And so, what I've noticed now too is like the shift to, like, where before, like you said, you would have those repeat teachers and so on, but now it's like, teachers are thriving. At least I'm seeing it. It's been great. So I know, in the very beginning it was difficult for us and or like for myself, and just, trying to help out and so on. But now it just seems like things are like, wow, and it's been great, and I'm loving it. And our tech department, our CTO, they've done an amazing job. And even the tech department, all the technicians too, are now very well versed in anything Google. And they're actually all our techs are all level 1, and some are level 2 certified. So that really helps out tremendously in our district.
That is my current struggle, is getting my people certified. And I've been discussing with the school to get them, not for the school to pay outright for the exam, but to reimburse for people who approved their exam, which is a better motivator. Because one of our, Monica Martinez, she gave me in November, she gave me 10 vouchers for the level 1 exam. And I gave them out to the first 10 teachers who raised their hand. And only 1 passed. Because since it was free, they didn't care. Well, I'm not saying that that's what their thought process was, but if you have to spend your hard-earned money, it's not the same as if you get it for free. So yeah.
Yeah. And I'm sorry. Go ahead. Oh. Okay, because I was going to say that's something that, because of what was happening in the very beginning, then, created these modules, all level 1 modules that the teachers go through. So what we did as a district, and talking to our assistant soup, saying, hey, this is what we need to do. We need to prepare our teachers. And so there's teachers that were very, very tech savvy, very comfortable. And then there are teachers that are like, I want to learn this. I have no clue what I'm doing. And they go through the modules. And then once they complete their modules successfully, then we give them a voucher. So we pretty much say, look, the first one's on us. The second one, you'll have to pay, if you don't do well, you'll pay the $10 for, but we're giving you all the training here that you'll need to prepare. And it has been just an amazing program. A lot of teachers that were in the beginning struggling are now thriving and doing well. And I think one of the biggest things that I loved about it, there's one particular teacher who, she's been in the district for years. She is just amazing. She's been just a wonderful, wonderful asset to our district. And she's well into, I think, like going over 30 years in teaching, almost getting ready to retire. And she said, you know what, Mr. Mendoza, this, what I've learned here through these modules and these additional skills, she goes, this, I can see myself teaching longer now because now things have gotten a little bit easier that I can integrate the tech and do
Not only
more.
that, what I've told lots of my teachers is, look, all this tech is here to help. The idea is for us to be to have the luxury of being a little more lazy, because if we prepare well in advance, everything else goes on easier. Like I still have something, well, not anymore, but I still had teachers who were actually picking up like essays printed out on paper. I said, look, sit down. Let's do this with Google Classroom just so you see how easy it is to grade. That's it. I don't want, because yes, the difference is she can't sit on the back. Well, she can't. Well, she could with a laptop anyway, but you can like sit anywhere and like correct and grade. If you really love your red pen, then there's nothing I can do. You can annotate, you can comment, you can do suggestions, but it's not the same. But still, look at how easy it is, and the grades are already there. And all you have to do to pass it to our grading thing is just look, highlight, copy, highlight, paste, and that's it. You don't have to like do it by hand and then work it out and then use because I don't know if you guys still have them, but our teachers still have the easy grader, the slide rule thing.
Yes.
And they do their thing, and then the easy grader, and then they do the easy grades, all that thing. And then now I'm discouraging people from using self-correcting forms, because there's an add-on for Chrome that lets kids cheat really easily for forms, for quizzes, for Kahoot, for lots of those online things. There's like an add-on kids install up there somewhere, and then they'll get a highlight on the answer. So all they have to do is just click, 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 and they do their thing like in 2 minutes. And then the other thing I said, if you have like one of your kids that struggles, and he answers the 20 points on the quizzes in less than a minute, something's off. So yeah, but still, or grade them after, or don't give them the correct answer. It's now we're working on like they're taking tech way too much to the easy level, and they're making it too easy.
Yeah. No, and that makes sense. But they get more comfortable, and I think we saw something like that within our district too. Or I had read, because we used a platform. We used Edpuzzle, and then there was an extension that the kids could get on, and then it would just give them all the right answers, just similar to what you said. So I contacted Edpuzzle, and they kind of went through whatever means they could to do whatever they could to pull that down, or and all that. But it's one of those things. It's like at some point too, I'm like, hey man, like those kids are pretty spot on. I mean, they're coming up with things that can help us. Some of them are kids, some of them, of course, you've got other adults, but you're thinking to yourself like, wow, look at where the tech is going, where you're using it. Yeah.
In that sense, I commend the kid that came up with the extension.
Yeah.
But not the ones who use it.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. That's what I wanted to go to. It's like, hey man, good job. Like,
and then and then you go to like YouTube, and it's so easy. You just search ways to cheat on online, whatever. And it's really funny because there's lots of things, but there's one by a teacher, and it's insane. Like the guy starts also, there's this method you can use, and you get a sticky note, and you put it inside the book on where you have to study, and you study. So funny.
Oh man, no, that is so good. Well, let's kind of switch the conversation now to a little bit more of like just that balance portion. Other than like the barbecuing and all that. During this time, of course, you've got your lovely family, your kiddos, and so on. What are some of the things that Luis Pertus loves to do just when he disconnects? What are some of the things that maybe something that you're engaging in now recently? Maybe are you learning a new skill just for fun to kind of disconnect? Maybe it could be a little bit tied to work, but not necessarily. Well, what are some things you're working on?
Okay, there's lots of things. Like we got a cat, which is something that we've never ever had a pet in my house, and we got a cat, and we love her, and she's somewhere out there. I don't know, and that's something that helps distract us, because as a cat, she's very entertaining, because they're supposed to be these great graceful creatures, and she isn't. I mean, she's clumsy and she hits stuff. And what else? I am trying to increase my skills in cooking because it's something that I enjoy anyway, and I like to cook. So, like for example, recently I made mayonnaise because I wanted coleslaw, and for coleslaw you need mayo, and I personally don't like mayo. But if I make my own mayo, then I'm forced to like it because I made it. So there's this guy on YouTube called Alex, the French guy cooking, and he's awesome because he's like a normal guy. He's an electrical engineer, and he picks up cooking as a hobby, and he explains stuff for normal people. Like he is French and he uses French terms, but he's not like you have to do a mise en place or any like that snobby sounding stuff. He'll go and he breaks something down into like steps. So cooking and stuff. My next project is stuff everybody in the States did a year ago. I'm starting now. I want to learn how to make bread like from scratch, and that's one of the things that I've got stuff in there in my kitchen somewhere. And one of these days, I don't know when, I'm gonna make a loaf of bread. Whether it's edible or not, we'll see. But the idea is to keep that growing. Barbecuing is also a thing because I've been evolving my barbecue habit. At the beginning last year, I had another barbecue set, which was really tiny, but it was good. And for my birthday, I gave myself a Weber grill, which is a little more serious. And now, and grilled stuff. So I have a very nice grill brush, and the grill brush came with some, I don't know if you've seen them. It's like these Kevlar mats.
Oh,
so you can use them on top of the grill and they won't burn. And so the stuff that falls apart like fish won't because it's on the mat. So stuff like that. So I've been evolving my grill game. I've also been Global GG also is a passion project because along with everybody else who's on Global GG, because it's not just Abid and Stephanie and Leslie and Bonnie and me. It's everybody who's in on it. You're in on it. Gerardo's in on it. Becky's in on it. Everybody's in there is in on it. And we do have an army of volunteers, and we're all volunteers. So I wish to God we could make money off of Global GG because it would be insane. I wish it would pay our bills, but it's a wish. And that's something I also invest some time in. And sometimes my wife says, "Did you stop working?" Yes. And what are you doing? Well, it's a Global GG. More Google stuff. Why? Like, you're an innovator. Yours over. I don't care.
And, the innovator thing doesn't stop at all.
No, it doesn't. And she did love the innovator thing when we went, because we were one of the last in-person academies. She did love innovator when we went to New York because she went with me. So that part was awesome. But then, and she still loves it. It's just one of those things that we're stuck at home, and I'm not at home because I'm here.
Yeah.
And that's. But yeah, no, trying and like. We painted the house. We painted my kids' rooms because they both of them, who are 6 years apart, mind you, I don't know why, they decided they wanted to sleep in the same room. Each one had their room, but the smaller one never actually slept in his room. He would always wind up in my room. And then we said, "Would you like to sleep with your brother?" And his bigger brother said, "Sure." So we like moved everything over and we tore his room apart so we could fit both beds in one room. And then since we tore the room apart, and my oldest used to love Handy Manny because come on. And so my mother-in-law paints very well. So she made these huge MDF cutouts of Manny and all the tools, and they were stuck to the walls, and they've been stuck to the walls since he was like 5. And then it was time for us to tear down Manny. So after we tore down Manny, since all of the stuff was stuck to the walls, we had like gashes in the walls. So I went to the home stuff store, and we bought everything, and we painted and we sanded and we did everything. So we've been doing house stuff, and we've been taking care of our house since we're stuck here for foreseeable future. Well, we better make it pretty. And my wife took over my younger son's room is now her home office. And we also did some small changes. She wallpapered one of her walls so that it would look different. And so she'd have a backdrop if she needed. because everybody knows my
Yeah.
sunflower, but I have another painting that I like more than this one, but I'm not going to move it to this room. And I have another painting which I could bring over, which is from some carnival stuff from here. I love the painting, but it's not PG-13 or anything. But I'll show you the picture and you'll decide. It's not rude. It's not anything. But the character is very interesting. But it's a carnival thing. And I have stuff that I'd like to decorate, but I'm in my dining room. My innovator certificate would look awesome over here, but it's my dining room. What is my innovator certificate I'm gonna do in my dining room? And so, it's that balance of, and my wife has a home office because I do go to work at school now. So I don't, this is just temporary. And I'm trying to like make our home more homey and livable. And we've changed it. We've given stuff away. We got rid of a bed and we got a new bed for the kids. And my wife fell in love with some Indian furniture, so we purchased Indian furniture. Now we have the furniture here, and we moved stuff out, and we gave stuff away, and we've done all sorts of weird and wacky things. Now we're planting herbs, so we have our own homegrown basil and oregano and stuff. So we, we're bored. It's part of the board stuff.
Yeah.
We used to play hide and go seek, but now all the hiding places, we know where they all are. Our house is just so big. There are no more hiding places. And since I'm in an apartment on a 9th floor, it's not like we can go out and run around in anything because there's no out to be in. So yeah, it's one of those things.
Yeah, so it's just been an adjustment, and I'm sure, like you said, a lot of the things that you're doing, everybody, found either some time to do or just a way, like that mental break, that outlet, and just creatively and all that. And that's really cool, though. Like, that your passion, or picking up that passion for cooking, that is something that's great. And that's something that I also started because of this, like, just working more on grilling stuff, and that has number one, I love it because you get to eat what you make, but just learning that skill, and just the more you practice, the better you become. And it's like, whoa, this is pretty good.
And the caveman skill, the fire. I'm making fire to burn my meat. That thing is awesome.
Yeah, that is definitely good. And just going to the meat market and picking up like ribs and picking up all that stuff, and just having a good time.
And trying the weird stuff. Like there's this recipe which I haven't tried because my wife, I have to do it on the sly so she doesn't notice what's going on. But apparently you can buy skirt steak, which is a very tough cut of meat. You can, as long as your coals are lit and white, you can lay the steak directly on the coals, not even on the grill, like on the coals. After a while, flip it, bang, and then you wrap it in foil, and you finish it off if the temperature inside is not correct. And that will make like the most. Don't worry about the ashes. You're gonna eat them anyway because they're on the food anyway because of the whole thing. And apparently, it's like the most delicious thing ever. Just a little salt, and that's it. And I want to try it, but I don't want to get caught trying it.
That's going to be the hard part there, especially in the apartment.
She doesn't know because I cook in the balcony.
Okay.
And she tries to stay away because she doesn't like the smoke, or the smell because it will get into the house. So I close the balcony out behind me, and I have my beer and my cooking, and I do my thing. And but no, like the simple stuff, like a good cut of beef, all you need is salt and pepper, and that's it. And that magic of transforming the raw flesh into something nice to eat is insane.
Oh yeah, no, I get you, man. Like it's so good. I mean, it's always, usually for us, it's always like gonna be chicken, it's gonna be fajitas or skirt steak, and the sausage. And I mean, that's our go-to. We did make some burgers the other day, but I mean, we're just big chicken and beef, just straight. Like, and then of course we can't forget our corn tortillas, just so we can make our pico de gallo and our tacos and all that stuff. So it's just some really good stuff there. But it's like you said, it's just one of those outlets to do stuff, and you just need that. And but yeah, it's been great. And I wanted to share this also because I did say that I did see when you were with Jen, you were talking to Jennifer Lieben, another innovator, and I loved when she shared this. So let me go ahead and go ahead and share the screen here. and just some things to think about, when you may be deciding to add an additional project or do a couple of things here. I love this decision tree here, or graphic. So, decision to take on a new project. Do you have the time? No, don't do it. Do you have the time? Yes. No, you
No, you
don't.
don't. Yes.
So this is definitely something that should be a reminder to all of us, and even ourselves. As much as we enjoy and love what we do, and we're in the business of helping people, and of course, in their needs, and especially during this time. I mean, it's also important that we take care of ourselves too as well. And of course, we all have families, and that we need to tend to, and so on. So I really don't have really like advice other than just make that time. I mean, I know we've said it a lot, and I've heard it from so many people, but sometimes it's just so hard, for people to
and
really
we've had colleagues from all over who are having issues because that work-life line is so blurry that they're having trouble, because you always think that your family will always be there with you, but if you ignore them all the time, you're going to turn around, they're going to be somewhere else, and they're going to be doing something else, and that's really, really sad. And it's very important to also remind those around you that as much as we like to help, and as much as we're techie, and as much as we like to use technology to help others, sometimes we all have to step away. And it's very healthy just to, as much as you can, just unplug, take time off, grill a burger, have a beer, or not, or whatever it is that you have. Abid can have a beer. He could have an ice cold tea. But, something different, because you need to unwind. Your brain needs to take a break. And it's not like we can go off on vacation anywhere for any time soon. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, and I agree with you. It's so important. And then, like, even for myself too, like, and my wife's been so great that, we'll just we just simply just veg out. Yeah, and we love watching cooking shows, and we will just veg out on cooking shows, just watching and just spending that time.
My wife is trying to lose some of those COVID pounds, and she's forced me not to watch cooking shows with her, because and it makes sense. Like, we're talking about cooking, we're watching cooking shows, and she's trying to not eat, and I'm trying to learn to do new stuff. So like, you're torturing me. This is horrible. What we will do is we are trying to we try and use the golden hour around 6-ish. We'll go and we'll have something to drink on our balcony by ourselves. We'll lock the kids in a room or something, and we'll just sit down and have a beer or have a glass of wine or something, just to mark like a change of, this is no longer working hours, this is vegging out hours. And even if we wind up talking to our moms or messing around with the kids, it is a hard line where you say, no more, it's time for a beer, or it's time for a glass of wine or whatever, and we're gonna unplug, and we're gonna change. We still use stick shift mostly down here. We just change gears, and we're gonna do something completely different.
Yeah. One of the things that I love to do is I'll just unplug, and I just drive around and say, hey, let's go for a cruise, like, just to drive around, and then we talk. We'll put the music on, we'll listen to some music, and then we just talk and catch up and just drive around, seeing the new scenery. We won't even stop anywhere, or maybe if we do, we'll purchase. Well, actually, sometimes what we'll do is we'll brew coffee here in our home, and then we'll just take our little thermos and we'll be drinking our own coffee. But we're just driving, just going down the same streets a couple times, but we get that time to talk and just enjoy.
Here, recently, a couple of years ago, our laws changed. So here right now, if they stop you and they give you a breathalyzer, and you register, whatever it is, if you register, you can be arrested, because it's zero tolerance for drinking and driving. So not even a beer. So if you're going to go out to drink, you'd better take a taxi. But it's COVID, so you're not going to take a taxi. So it's really weird. So right now, all my drinking is done at home. And then recently, for work, I had to go get a checkup. And the doctor who was interviewing me for my checkup, the first question he asked, how often do you have alcohol? And he didn't ask me for me to fill out, to give my own answer. He gave me options. And the options were once a week, once a month, or more often than that. And if I'm having a beer a day, it is the worst option. so it's one of those things that I said, hey, do I answer honestly? Or because if I answer honestly, it's going to sound like I'm an alcoholic, but a beer a day is not, it's not terrible. But it's weird because then they're going to be judging me because I have more often than once a week.
Well, that's the way it goes. I don't know. But Luis, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate you being here and just being straightforward, honest, and just the the wackiness that you bring. And I love that you said like-minded wackos. And I mean, there's definitely so many of us that are out there. And I just really thank you again, just being so refreshing, seeing things in a different perspective, in a different light. The way things are over there is not much different than things are here. Obviously, it's just a distance, but just
and what we've said, so like education at the root of it is the same no matter where we are. We will have some issues that are very, very local, but they're the same issues we have everywhere, and somebody else has faced that issue or is facing that issue right now, and that's the best part of reaching out to the world.
And that's exactly where I was headed with that. You just definitely nailed it. Like you said, it's like, these things are happening elsewhere.
On your line.
No, but it's all good. It's all good because you conveyed the message, which is great, that, you were not the only ones out there. This is happening everywhere else. And the only thing that we ask of you is, if you can, I know as many times as you've heard it from Luis, we're here talking today, that work-life balance, it's okay to unplug, reset. You don't have to answer that email. That problem may be there that following morning. Take care of it that following morning, or you might even be surprised. You might, like Lisa mentioned earlier in his example, that person may have emailed you maybe 2 minutes later, 3 minutes. Oh, no worries. I got it. It's all good. And there you go. So, just finding that balance, unplug. But again, Luis, thank you so much for your time. And thank you so much for everything that you do for our educator community as well. Please make sure that you follow Luis on Twitter. I did pop in his Twitter link there.
Yes,
his
I
handle.
need more follows to see if I can follow more people because I'm hitting the line all the time.
Yeah, there you go. So that way we can grow our PLF, our personal learning family. And for all of you guys that are joining us here or have joined us, Saturdays and Wednesdays, thank you so much for all your support. And as you know, this is just a show or a show where we just have that casual conversation. We'll sneak some education in there. We'll talk some tech, but everything else, it's just whatever it is. And it's about connecting educators, connecting creatives, and growing our PLF. And again, feel free to reach out to Luis also as well. And of course, myself, we always tell you, it's like you can reach out to us. If we don't know the answers, we'll definitely point you in the direction of somebody that can help with anything and all questions. So thank you so much. And we'll be seeing you guys here next week. Next week, we're going to be talking a little bit more higher ed. We're going to be talking about, the changes in the education landscape in higher ed with Dr. Rene Corbet. So he'll be on here, and he has been our previous guest. Actually, he was our first guest on our show back in April. So he'll be back. So we're really excited talking about micro learning and all the great things that are going to be happening in higher ed with everything that's happened. So join us next week. Look forward to seeing you all, and enjoy the rest of your weekend, guys. Enjoy your Saturday. Unplug. Those of my friends that are going to be starting spring break this coming week, enjoy your time off with your families. Do what you need to do. Get some extra sleep. Just unplug and take care of yourself and take care of your loved ones. All right, guys. So until next time, stay techie, my friends.
Bye, everyone.